What's up? Video is for the little 3040. It's a 3040 Chinese router. Basically, I keep adding features to it. Essentially, what I've done here is I've obviously built. What I've done is I've built this cabinet. It's just leftover wood, but I still have to put the duct work, because it's all it is just a little 4-inch duct fan. I'm gonna put that to the outside, and that'll, you don't really have a lot of fumes, but if there's any dust, the thinking is it'll keep the shop a little cleaner. I do use this thing a lot, but I just like setting things up so it's user friendly for me, and then label things to where, like, later on if my kid wants to run it, which is who is making the video.
Hey.
So anyway, back to this. I've got it. It's just some lights in there. You probably can't hear it, but there's a little fan there. I'll shut that off. And then this switch here, I'd had it back there. I got the reservoir and the coolant back there for the spindle. The spindle doesn't necessarily need it, but it's there, so I use it. I had a switch back there and it sucked because I'd always try to reach for it and shut it off, but now it's up here. So there's spindle coolant, light, exhaust fan. Another nice little feature down here, if you look, it's got a vacuum table. I've got wet coolant and a vacuum table. This is the wet coolant reservoir. It also has air blow. That's right here. This nozzle. And then this is obviously the wet coolant for, like, when I do aluminum and such like that. I did update this is, a lot of guys call it the spoil board, but for me it was the jig board. I've got several jigs that I've made. There's a stop that goes into here, and it's got a clamp, and I put metering blocks for Holley carburetors, like this right here. If you look at the side of that, that gets done in there. Several other little things. Here's not really failed projects, but stuff that I've done with it. But I got the vacuum table, but as you can see, what's nice about it is everything I've updated it to. I used to have a particle board, but now this is cutting board plastics, 1 inch. I've bolted it down, and I've done a pocket to surface it basically to the machine. But this is a vacuum table that I use for, I have other little lighted signs that I do, and this works absolutely awesome and it's homemade. It was done on this machine as well. But like when you turn, this is labeled, I just turn it on, and then here's the valve right here. That'll pull 26 inches. So even when I have it bolted down, I'll have a seal on there. I mean, that thing ain't going anywhere. And then this is what's neat, was this little feature here. Turn it on. That's wet coolant. I can regulate it because I built a pan. Sometimes the return rate is not as fast as it needs to be, so I can, turn this or whatever. But it's kind of nice with this here. Finally got one off eBay. I can adjust my coolant. accordingly.
Which I don't know how it works.
I have dowel pins for the vise, and then I have this stop here. I make lighted signs, but just to give you an idea, obviously the wet coolant would be involved in that, but I come over here and then I pull it up and then I gotta redo this bolt. It's too long. And then I tighten it down and then I go into the software and use G56 offsets. You go into offsets and then this here, that's the offsets that I use for them signs. So come over here, but like up here it's just like any Mach 3. You go into your load your G code and you can see all the different I have, you know, all those different programs that I've ran. Here's one that I think is cool. Here's the metering block, the ones that you just seen. That's the program there. Did that in FeatureCam. So let's say it's home. It's home now. So we'll go ahead and regen toolpath, and it's fine. So there again, everybody knows that's into this knows how all this works. But I use a little 40 thousandths ball mill for that. But it has a little pulse handle over here. Everything's kind of. I would like to have a touch screen on it, like the mill over there. But this one don't have that, which for what it's doing, perfectly fine. It would just be nice to have. I'd like to do the iPack thing that has a keyboard interface and allows me to build a controller to have a hard button that's married to a function. But as you can see, it's just the update was just the computer. Everything's just easy to reach with switches. And now the next thing to come is I got these channels on the side here. I'll have a piece of Lexan that will be in front of here. Here, cut it. And then there'll be a slot right up through here, and then I can basically it'll shut. I can turn the exhaust fan on, and then I'll run a code or whatever. And if it's in wood, it puts out a lot of dust. So the thinking is that that exhaust fan will expel a majority of that out. I did use mist coolant a while ago, which I didn't like. So, but this vacuum pump does put out if you run it for extended amount of time, it'll put a mist cloud out from the oil that's inside the vacuum pump. So the thinking is to run an external breather, because I've got a hydraulic breather on it now. So that may get plumbed into the cabinet, just so the cabinet sees all of that, and then even when the machine's running or done running, I can still keep the exhaust fan on because the door will be right here, and then I'll have a handle, and then I'll just be able to just raise it up and down. They'll have little catches that when you raise it, it'll just rest up there, and you still have a lot of work area. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for this time. Hopefully we've only done what, we got 7 minutes?
9.
9! Oh, look at that. So
Close.
hope you enjoy the updates. Thanks.